Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today we're travelling back to March 25th, 1333, a day marked by bloodshed and betrayal on the volatile Anglo-Scottish border. It's the Battle of Dornock, a lesser known clash in the grand chronicle of the wars of Scottish independence. But don't let its size fool you. This skirmish was a telling moment in a war torn land, and it would leave one of Scotland's fiercest knights shackled and humiliated. And if you're curious about other fascinating events that happened on this day in history, be sure to check out my blog at bagtownclans.com/thisday. The link will be in the description. To understand Dornock, we must first step into the chaotic landscape of early 14th century Scotland. Edward Balliol, the son of former King John Balliol, had returned to Scotland with English backing, hoping to reclaim his father's lost throne. This launched what we now call the Second War of Scottish Independence, a bitter and brutal continuation of the fight that Robert the Bruce had begun decades earlier. Bruce was gone and his young son, David II, sat on the throne, but Scotland remained fractured and embattled. Edward III of England saw an opportunity to destabilise the Bruce dynasty and expand English dominance northward. With Balliol as his puppet, he launched a series of aggressive campaigns into Scotland. By early 1333, tensions were boiling over again, and the borders were on high alert. Enter Sir William Douglas, the Lord of Liddesdale. A cunning warrior and staunch supporter of the Bruce cause, Douglas had already carved out a name for himself in the relentless border warfare of the time. His nickname, the Knight of Liddesdale, was spoken with both admiration and fear. Loyal, bold, and ruthless when needed, Douglas was precisely the kind of man Scotland needed in this time of turmoil. But even the boldest knights can be caught unawares. On March 25th, Douglas led a small Scottish force toward the village of Dornock in Dumfriesshire, right along the contentious border with England. His goal was likely to challenge the growing English presence in the region, or perhaps intercept a raiding party. What he didn't know was that the English were prepared. Sir Ralph Dacre, the warden of the Western Marches, and Sir Anthony Lucy, another seasoned campaigner, had anticipated the move. They lay in wait with a force nearly double the size of Douglas's contingent. What followed was swift and brutal. Dornock was not a grand battlefield, no drawn up lines of cavalry or massive siege engines. This was a border clash, raw and chaotic. The Scots were outnumbered and they were caught in the open. Douglas and his men fought valiantly, but the terrain offered little protection. One by one, they were cut down. Douglas himself was wounded and captured, a devastating blow to Scottish morale. Among the dead were some of his closest companions. The rest of the Scottish force scattered or were taken prisoner. For the English, it was a clean victory, and one that helped solidify Balliol's shaky claim, at least for a little while. Though the Battle of Dornock was small in scale compared to the great clashes like Bannockburn or Halidon Hill, its implications were heavy. It showcased the ever-present danger of life along the borders, where knights and raiders constantly clashed, where loyalty could shift like the wind, and where no village was safe from the reach of war. Douglas would eventually be released, and his story didn't end in captivity. In fact, he would go on to play a key role in future campaigns and reclaim his reputation as one of Scotland's deadliest warriors. But the defeat at Dornock lingered, a reminder that Scotland's road to independence would be paved with setbacks as well as victories. Today, the quiet fields around Dornock give no hint of the blood that once soaked the soil, but on this day in 1333, they bore witness to yet another chapter in Scotland's centuries long struggle for sovereignty. Thanks for joining me today on this day in Scottish history. I hope this tale of betrayal, bravery, and the harsh reality of border warfare gave you a glimpse into the turbulent heart of medieval Scotland. For more historical insights, visit my blog at bagtownclans.com/thisday. I'll see you tomorrow for another story from Scotland's rich and rugged past. I'm Colin MacDonald. Haste you back